Srimad Bhagavatam. Up there?
It will come.
Canto 1, Chapter 8, text number 15. Yadyapi astram brahmashiraha yadyapyastrash brahmashiras tu amogham cha apratikryam tvamogham cha pratikryam Vaishnavam tejaha asadya Vaishnavam teja sadya Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugu udvaha samashamyat bhrugudvaha yadyapyastram brahmashira tvamogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha yadyapyastram brahmashiras tvamogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha yadyapyastram brahmashiras tvamogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha
Yadyapi astram brahmasiras va amogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samasamyat bhrugudvaha
Yadyapi astram brahmashiras amogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam tejo asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha
Yadyapi astram brahmashira Tvamogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha
Yadyapi astram brahmashiras Tvamogham cha pratikriyam Vaishnavam teja asadya samashamyat bhrugudvaha
More people, young boys.
यदापि अस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
यद्याप्यस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
च प्रतिक्रियम्
ब्रह्मोहं च प्रतिक्रियम्
वैष्णवं तेजमासाद्य
वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य
समासम्यग् भृगुद्वः
संशाम्य भृगुध्वः
यद्यपि अस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
यद्यप्यस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
त्वा अमोघं च प्रतिक्रियम्
त्वमोघं च प्रतिक्रियम्
वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य
वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य
यद्भृगुद्रुवा
समासाम्य भृगुध्वः
यद्यपि अस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
यद्यप्यस्त्रं ब्रह्मशिरः
त्वमोघं च प्रतिक्रियम्
त्वमोघं च प्रतिक्रियम्
वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य
वैष्णवं तेज आसाद्य
साम्य भृगुद्वः
समासाम्य भृगुध्वः यद्यपि although astram weapons brahma shiraha supreme tu but amogham without check cha and apratikriyam not to be counteracted Vaishnavam in relation with Vishnu Tejaha strength Asadya being confronted with Samashamyat was neutralized Bhrugudvaha O glory of the family of Bhrugu Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Shankara, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or contraction, when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna, it was neutralized and foiled. Translation with repetition. Although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or contraction when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna, it was neutralized and foiled. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Brahma Jyoti or the glowing effulgence transcendental is resting on Lord Shri Krishna. In other words, the glowing effulgence known as Brahma Jyoti is nothing but the rays of the Lord, just as the sun rays are rays of the sun disk. So this Brahma weapon also, although materially irresistible, could not surpass the supreme strength of the Lord. The weapon called Brahma Shiras, released by Ashwatthama, was neutralized and foiled by Lord Shri Krishna by his own energy. That is to say, he did not wait for any other's help, because he is absolute. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta. Om Jnana Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Venkateshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Veshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a very nice verse from the Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter called Prayers by Queen Kundi. Yadyapi astram brahma shiras tvamogham cha apratikriyam. The Brahma Shira astram, amogham apratikriyam. The weapon called Brahma Shiras. Prabhupada also has used the word Brahmastra, so it looks like they are equivalent. So Brahma Shiras or Brahmastra. Brahma Shiras means the head. Can mean Brahma's head. Here it means the supreme. So Brahma Shiras Astra, the supreme weapon. It was amogha. It was without check. Apratikriyam, cannot be counteracted. It's the supreme of the weapons. Yadyapi, although this Brahma Shiras is amogham apratikriyam, Vaishnavam teja asadhya. When that Brahmastra encountered or came in touch with or face to face with or asadhya, being confronted, samashamyat prukutva, samashamyat, shamyati is to calm down, put down, samashamyat, completely put down, completely neutralize. Prabhutva, O glory of the dynasty of Prabhus, referring to Shaunaka. O Shaunaka, Prabhutva, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon, Brahma Shiras Astram, released by Ashwatthama, was irresistible, amogha, and without check or contraction, apratikriyam. When confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Vaishnavam Teja Asadhya, it was neutralized and fought. Samashamyat Bhrugutva. So this is the position of Krishna, Krishna's promise, Krishna's potencies, before all of the grand manifestations of power that happens in the material world. Material world also has some very grand manifestations of power. Like one of them is the sun. The sun is so brilliant, it is blinding, you can't even see. It's so much heat and light. And that nourishes the whole planet and many other parts of many other planets also. But that effulgent sun, Krishna says, it is my Amsha Teja Amsha. Krishna says that this is just a splendor. We have seen sparks of fire. Can we imagine? Sun is a spark. Then what is the splendor of the Lord? So, Bhagavatam is preparing us Bhagavatam has a very important message, and Bhagavatam is preparing us readers to reveal some very extraordinary knowledge about the Absolute. This is the presentation of the Srimad. That's why Prabhupada says in the introduction of the Bhagavatam, there is a difference between the conception of the absolute truth and conception of God. Srimad Bhagavatam presents absolute truth to be of a different, another stage. God refers to some control. Control is only one aspect. It's not everything. Like sometimes in their family there will be a strong man, the father or the grandfather. He controls the family. He makes all business decisions. He makes so many things, investment decisions, all that. Yeah, he controls. That's one aspect of that big man in the family. But then there are people who are close to him and they know that there are so many wonderful things about him. He's a very endearing person. Could be, I'm just giving an example. It's not every time it happens. But there are many other aspects, there are many loving aspects about him. So from a distance, someone may see his controlling aspects. Like say there's a servant in the house, or there's a guard in the house, big man, big mansion he has, and he has all these people working for him. And they all see this control, power aspect. But then there are closed chambers in the mansion where he associates with his very beloved family members. And with them, he shows a different feature. So in the same way, Bhagavatam is talking about not just God, not just some controllers of the universe. Because that's what we are all experiencing here, right? We are in this world, it becomes cold, it becomes hot, it becomes rainy, it becomes stormy, it sometimes shakes. We see all these different kinds of experiences in this world. Natural feature, natural phenomena. And we see in the world we organize, the society that we have organized, there are upheavals, economic downturn, economic prosperity, all these different things. This is what we are experiencing. And there are some controllers of all this. That's one reality. We cannot deny that. We are not denying that reality. But now we are trying to penetrate, go further deeper inside all of this myriad manifestations and variegatedness that we see. What is the underlying foundation for all this? That is seeking the absolute truth. That's why Prabhupada says some absolute truth means the summum bonum, meaning It's the summation and culmination and combination of everything that we see or that we don't see. And what is its basis? What is its foundation? What is it founded on? And then the Bhagavatam makes an extraordinary revelation. That foundation, that which is everything is resting on, that foundation. Now, that foundation is absolute, meaning, okay, you may say that there is a foundation, just like this building will have a foundation, and that's a whole building is resting on the foundation. Now we want to know, what is the foundation resting on? Isn't it? Like sometimes when you do buildings or build structures, and when you design structures, structural engineers, they calculate different forces. And if they find there is some unbalanced force, they have to deal with it. Because that unbalanced force, if you build that one, there's always one force acting, and finally your truss or your structure will get unduly stressed and it may break down. So now what they do, they create a counter force, they create a member and then connect it, and then finally it goes to the foundation. Right? Everything is finally, all forces go to the foundation. Foundation is so good, it's holding a big mansion, big house up. Now we want to know if the foundation is holding everything. What is holding the foundation? Okay, we may find there is an earth layer, there is a hard rock layer, or some earth crust that we came across. That's so powerful, it's holding the foundation is holding. Now we will ask, what is that earth crust? What is holding that earth crust? Which is holding the foundation? Which is holding the mansion? Like that. That's the inquiry. That is the jignasa. And now there is one final foundation. And that foundation is called absolute foundation. Now, what is the meaning of absolute foundation? What is that foundation? That foundation is not dependent on yet another foundation. If it is dependent on yet another foundation, we are interested in that. Final, primeval, original. That which is not dependent on anything else, but everything else is dependent on that. Is there such a reality? By speculation, you will never know. It may be there, may not be there. What is its nature? How do we know? We cannot be. We can go on throwing different ideas, but it will be inconclusive. Now Srimad Bhagavatam says, yes, there is one absolute foundation. It is the absolute foundation, means it is not founded on another foundation. It is absolute. It is self-supportive and it can support everything else. It doesn't need another support. That's why Srila Prabhupada explains in a simple analogy, like in a train. If you are sitting in a train bogie, you may ask the question, why is my bogie moving? You can say there is a bogie in front that is pulling it. Oh, that bogie is pulling and so my bogie is moving. Next, my question is, why is that bogie moving? You would say there is one more bogie in the front that is pulling it and that's why this is moving. Now what is that bogie in front moving? Then you will come to the engine. Right? And the engine is pulling all this. Now what is pulling the engine? Is there another bogie in front of the engine? No, if the engine also requires another bogie pulling it, then it's not crowded engine. It's also another bogie. So engine is such that it can pull all the bogies, it can pull itself. It doesn't require another bogie to pull it. It is self-forcing, it can pull everything and it can pull itself. It doesn't depend on any other thing. Of course, this analogy breaks down. You must further go to say that the engine is moving because there's a fuel in it, and the fuel and it has got some power, whatever that is. Okay, let's not go beyond. An analogy is, Srila Prabhupada explains, analogy is used in philosophy, in Bhagavatam, in very literatures, because there are points of similarity. And so, when you notice there are points of similarity, and you take a familiar domain, you identify points of similarity with another unfamiliar domain you are trying to understand. And then you make this is a familiar domain you can easily understand and you can make conclusions about this. And so you take from this to the unfamiliar, unknown domain and try to draw some conclusions and get some better understanding. So when we do this, when we use analogies, if you push the analogy beyond a certain point, it breaks down. But within where it serves an important purpose. So in that sense, when you take this example, engine is such that it can pull everything and it doesn't require anything else to pull it. So in the same way, now we are looking for a foundation of the entire universe. Because that's in universe is what we are familiar with. That's the experience we have a little bit. We look at the solar system, we read something, books of scientists. Now what is the foundation for all this? That which is holding up the whole universe. And so we can be speculative about it. There is a foundation. No, there is no foundation. Because scientists do bring up these kind of thinking also. Like one scientist said, we are studying the universe. We are studying. Why does the universe exist itself for us to study in the first place? Yes, it's a fact the universe exists. And we are studying. That also establishes that we exist. So why do we exist? And why does the universe exist? And why does this thing called studying, understanding, always exist? Now, so why the universe and me and my study and all of this exists? Is there a foundation on which all of this is resting? Why does it exist? What was the intent? Oh, there is something called intent. Why does all this exist at all? So we are really going to the bottom of the issues. And the Vedic literatures say, yes, there is an ultimate foundation on which everything is founded. And then Srimad Bhagavatam reveals another wonderful aspect, and that ultimate foundation is a person. That's the shocking revelation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janma Yasya Yatom Mayati Tirataschatishu Vipasu. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye Mudyanti Yatsudaya. Tejo Ari Yudam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrusha Dhamma Svena Sadam Yastakumakam. Satyam Param Hidam. That Param Satya on which everything is resting is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Is Vasudeva. Is Krishna. is the way Bhagavatam is presenting. Yes, that absolute truth controls everything. Yes, it controls. The absolute truth controls everything. Absolute truth's control permeates everything. But that control is not everything about the absolute truth. There are many, many more features and attributes and aspects of the absolute truth. And that absolute truth is a person, and that person is very attractive. So among various nomenclatures that describe the absolute truth, there is one principal nomenclature, and that is Krishna. Not many people are eager to know all these things. People are eager to make money, become rich, become powerful, have a big house, have some big attractive things in this world, and accomplish big things in this world. That's what most people are seeking, are working hard. You see? Who is seeking? I want to know the absolute truth. I want to know the foundation of everything. Very few people. Very, very, very few people. And hence, this knowledge is not so freely revealed. Because it requires a certain intensity of eagerness to know. That's why in the next verse, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Dharma projita kaitavotram dharmo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivatam tapattayo umbudam Srimad Bhagavatam maham nikrute kimma paraishvara satya hrudyavarudyate shushushuvi satchana. The word shushushu, Prabhupada explains, means eager. Eager to know what is the foundation of everything. So, if you take human society, large number of human beings, practically 95, 98 maybe, are all in pursuit of more power, more wealth, more name, more fame. Big things in this world, so that people will say, oh, he's such a great man, he's a great person, and we like that. We feel very gratified by that. And this is what people are pursuing. They're working hard to become richer. Who is wanting to know what is the foundation of everything? Very, very few. And so, those who want to know what is the foundation of everything, one has to go to the absolute foundation, ultimate foundation. There is one understanding the Vedic literatures present. Yes, there is one truth, one absolute truth, and that absolute truth is powerful, it is sustaining everything, and that absolute truth which sustains everything is known as Brahman. Brahman means the supreme, like we said, Brahmashiras, that's supreme. And many people think, oh, that's very nice. And then the Vedic literatures further say, ultimately, do you know, you are also Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. And oh, I am Brahman. And the ultimate truth is also Brahman. Oh, yes. That's a wonderful revelation. That's wonderful understanding. So many people are satisfied with that. Here Aham Brahmasmi refers to I am not this material body, but I am a spiritual being. There is a transcendental force in this body. And that transcendental force is actually, there is a transcendental force upholding this universe. Actually, both are same qualitatively. Both are same. Aham Brahmasmi. So that realization itself is a very big thing. I am not this body. That's why when one understands that Aham Brahmasmi, he wants to renounce this world. What's there? What is this? Well, everything, these are all fleeting. Just to realize that temporary nature of the material world, I must not pursue those things. I am spirit. Spirit is eternal. Just that understanding of the eternality, appreciation of the eternality. That is why that's called Brahman realization. In that, Sat realization is happening. Yes, there is one existence which is eternal. My body is not eternal. It's breaking down, it's getting old, organs fail, different parts of the body, pains and this and that. And one day it's going to go away. It won't be, it is not sustainable, this body. Many people don't even have the understanding this body will get old. That's the 98%. For those who begin to understand that yes, this world, this material world is not temporary, now they begin to seek. Now for them there is a glimmer of the absolute truth in Brahman realization. It's not the full understanding. Just like from a distance, when you're driving on the highway, from a distance you will see a hill, mountainous region. It's hazy. Now you begin to see. So, Aham Brahmasmi alone is not enough. We have to go further. Okay, there is some spiritual force and that is upholding all of this. Can I go a little closer and get an understanding of that spiritual force? Then there is the understanding of Paramatma, Vishnu, who is actually upholding this whole universe. Vishnu has multiple expansions and they are known as plenary expansions. Plenary expansions means Swamsha. Those expansions have equal potency and these different Swamshas maintain and uphold this universe. One of the aspects of the universe is we, all of us, we living entities, and we need constant direction. And so, one of the expansions of Vishnu acts as Paramatma, directing the wanderings of the living entities, every living entity. So this is another level of realization of the absolute truth. Oh my God, there is such a powerful person who expands, who upholds the universe, who even directs every living entity. So all this that absolute truth is doing, oh, that's a wonderful realization. Now you come to Brahman, to Paramatma realization. Vishnu realization. Now there is something even beyond that. Because Vishnu also has different roles in maintaining the universe. And he's maintaining. So this universe and maintaining the universe is everything about the absolute. This is also one amsha only. One amsha spark only. The real Purushottama is Shri Krishna. And what is he? He is in the spiritual world he is with his Parsha, his intimate devotees who love him wholeheartedly. And with them he is exchanging rasas and he is having unlimited pastimes. And that is the complete absolute truth. See how the whole thing is developed? This is the proposition of the Srimad Bhagavatam. One can intellectually go through all this, but then to actually experience it, just like I can explain how to make nice sweet rice. You know, you get the best sugar, and then you add honey, you get the best milk, then you boil it, make it cream, and then get the best rice. I can take you through an intellectual journey of sweet rice making. And then I can tell you in the end, wonderful sweet rice. And you will also intellectually appreciate it. You don't know what it is, and you're not experiencing it at all. So Bhagavatam doesn't want us to do that. Acharyas don't want us to do that. If I'm really your good friend, and I'm not that I just intellectually take you through what is sweet rice, and maybe I even demonstrate making of the sweet rice, and then I show you, see, look at the creamy sweet rice I've made. Very good now, close. Goodbye, see you all. Hey, what's happening? Can I taste it? So our acharyas don't want us to just have an intellectual appreciation. They want us to really relish it and taste it. These are the real acharyas. That is why they do. If somebody is going off, not really relishing it, not on the right path of relishing it, they'll correct them. Because these topics are relishable when one is really made, one has necessary qualifications for that. One must have adhikar. That's why we sing every day to Tulsi Maharani. Seva adhikar. Please give me seva adhikar to render service to Radha and Krishna. Not easy. This is the highest conception of the absolute truth. So this is the presentation. But then Vyasadeva is very careful. When you start, if we start telling you about Krishna and what he does with his intimate associates, where he does not have to show his power because they love him so much. He is indeed very, very powerful, but he does not have to show his power to them. He wants to show his unlimited loving feature. Everything about the absolute truth is unlimited. Everything about Krishna is unlimited. His power and his energies are unlimited. His knowledge is unlimited. His fame is unlimited. Everything about him is unlimited. There is also his love, which is unlimited, which he only shares with his very, very intimate. It requires very high qualifications. Only with them he shares that in the highest precincts of the spiritual world. That's why Kshiti Virala Charakati Kaye. Brahma Samhita says this is Virala. Rarely understood. That Vache Shveta Dvipam, that Goloka Vrindavan is rarely realized. Where Katha Ganam, Natyam, Namanamapi, where the speech is a song, where every speech is a song, every step is a dance. So that supreme, absolute world where Krishna resides, it is rare. It It is rare means it requires very extraordinary qualification. How many billionaires are there in this world? Few. Millionaires, maybe more. People who have thousands of dollars, more. People who have only $100, practically all world. Too many. So, to make such billions of dollars, it requires a lot of hard work, intelligence, planning, many, many things. Only few people make it. Right? Then somebody writes a book, How to Become a Billionaire in 30 days. 30 days is too short. Maybe 5 years. The author may write, but he himself may not be a billionaire. So, this is very, very advanced level. So, here, Bhagavatam is preparing this Brahma Shiras Astram. He is Amogham, Apratikriya. This is a very powerful weapon. Some Kshatriyas who are very powerful, who are masters of this, know how to wield and release this Brahmashiras. But that Brahmashiras, when it is Vaishnavam Tejasadhyam, when that Brahmashiras, which is so powerful, Amogham and Apratikriya, it encounters, it confronts Vaishnava Teja, Vishnu Teja. Samashavyat, it is completely neutralized. So this is the potency of Krishna's power. So first we must appreciate the power and potency of the Lord before we can understand His loving features. Otherwise we will misunderstand. We'll mistake who is Krishna. We'll take Krishna to be very something not so valuable. We will misunderstand that. So many, many acharyas reveal the glories of Vishnu, because that understanding of the glory of Vishnu is very essential. And then when we properly understand, we come to a liberated stage. And in that liberated stage, further revelation can happen and we can come to the state of worshiping Krishna. Krishna worship is on the platform of love. Vishnu worship is on the platform of all relevance, understanding His potencies. That is why, if you see in Kali Yuga history, in the revelation, in the history of the revelation of absolute truth, all the acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, all of them glorify aspects of Vishnu, by and large. And before that, Shankaracharya was even more preliminary, Brahman. This is one of the interesting things. If you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his exposition in Varanasi, in that conversation with Prakashananda Saraswati, he does not tell them Shankaracharya is wrong. Acharya Doshanaya. This is not the defect of Shankaracharya, who has taught you all about Brahman. Because that was the direction of the Lord, that was as per Lord's plan. And He did not reveal beyond that. And that Brahman is one feature of the Absolute Truth. Paramatma is another feature of the Absolute Truth. And then there is Bhagavan. So, like this, these are all very, very special features, special understanding. And Bhagavatam is gradually preparing us to experience that final absolute truth ultimate manifestation of absolute truth as Sri Krishna. And by Acharya's mercy, like Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we are able to worship that absolute truth in its highest feature as Radha and Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada said, because we are not liberated, we must worship Radha and Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi and Narayana. Even in our thoughts, we must worship with regulations. At this time, we must do Mangalarati. This time, we must do Arati. We must do Moga. We must do Shine. Like this, strict regulations. That strict regulated worship is actually Lakshmi Narayana worship. We must do that mode of worship. There were great devotees like Sanatana Goswami. He had his deity. He would wrap the deity and just hang it on the tree, and he would be doing his bhajan, chanting, writing. And if he gets some like rice or roti, he will all eat. Sometimes it is some not enough tasty food. And whatever he gets, he offers that to Madan Mohan. So one day Madan Mohan told him, "You are offering such bland food, why don't you get some good things?" So I'm a simple sadhu, what can I get? Whatever I get, I'll offer. And Madan Mohan is very happy to receive that. Because Sanatana Goswami, his heart is brimming with love for Krishna. Our hearts are not. Our hearts are brimming with lust for this material world. You see, one last point I'll make and then we will close. I remember when I was young as a devotee, in 13th chapter, Krishna explains in the very early part of 13th chapter. Because Arjuna has asked, Gnanam Neyam, what is knowledge? And Krishna answers, there are about 15 or 18 items are there. And Krishna says, Etat gnanam iti proktam agnanam yat ato anyatha. All this constitutes jnana, and anything besides this is ignorance. This is how Krishna says. I was a college student at that time when I was reading this one. And then the first item in this is amanitvam adamritvam, ahimsa kshantirajam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, stharyam, etc. So the first one is amanitvam, humility. I used to wonder why humility is knowledge. It was very difficult for me. I used to really ponder and discuss with some devotee. And if we carefully read Prabhupada's purport, you will get a sense. So, here, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything honor or dishonor pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. This is called amanitvam. In this explanation, you will find an understanding why humility is a feature of knowledge. If someone is fully knowledgeable, if someone has that Brahma Vidya, Brahma Jnana, if he is seeing this, then he will see that this material world, how temporary it is, and all the honor and dishonor, that people run after honor and avoid dishonor, all these things. This is simply a deception, a material deception. And I will not run after these things. I'll be free from the anxiety for being honored. Because I'm able to see that honor, dishonor, or whatever it is, everything will be finished one day. Why should I run after this? So one who has become realized that no, I should not run after, he is a knowledgeable person. If he is not knowledgeable, he will be looking for recognition, position, stature in the society. You see? So that shows that there is no awakening of transcendental knowledge in his heart. Because amanitvam is an indication of awakening of transcendental knowledge. Not care for honor, dishonor, all these things. Bhagavatam gives extraordinary examples of such devotees, like Jadava. He did not care what is happening to him, to his body. He was internally absorbed in realizing Krishna. So some people were looking for a man with big body. They wanted somebody to lift the king's palanquin. They found Jadava. They said, "Can you lift? Come and lift." He said, "Okay." And he was lifted. The palanquin. Amanitvam. He didn't care for honor, dishonor. See? So these are all Srila Prabhupada has given a wonderful opportunity for us to really practice. We may come across all these things, but still be driven by a strong desire to be honored. And that's what happened to many of us, I think, all those devotees. At some point we wanted to, really forget all this honor and dishonor. Let's jump into Krishna consciousness movement. Much to the dismay and shock of our parents. So anyway, this is Prabhupada's mercy. So like this, we have to gradually develop ourselves internally so that we become qualified to relish the sweet rice that Srimad Bhagavatam is preparing in the temple. We'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments to make? Yes, please.
So, first, I want to apologize if my question is it's stupid or it's just coming out of my ignorance. So, when you explained the speculation of the foundation going step by step, that is understandable. So, what I see, there are two phenomena, either realization or understanding. For example, I understand that I get old, but I don't realize it.
Pardon, you understand?
So there are many things which I understand, but I don't realize it. Like I'll get old, or this is my body, but I don't realize it. There are other things which I realize it, but I don't understand it. For example, I get affectionate to some people, or I get influenced by some people, but I don't understand why I'm doing this thing, or why I'm loving this person, but not this person. Similarly, the problem is that when you say Satchidanand Brahma Vigraha, that ultimate absolute is person, that is neither understandable not realizing. Neither I realize it, nor I understand it. The moment we don't understand it, there is a big fraction of all the philosophy is out of that acceptance. The mind does not accept it, and the mind does not realize it. And that's a kind of a big kind of a distance start coming. Because when you say that there's a lot of similarities, something which is unfamiliar, Bhagavatam has similarity to explain something which you do not understand. Some of the things you understand, which are like philosophical, but a lot of things is beyond the comprehension. Maybe because people like me are not qualified. But then this is the reality that you don't accept it, you don't realize it, and then you are stuck into that position where you are lost into this loop of ignorance.
So, the Vedic literatures realize that in the material world, a large population are ignorant, like us, not very spiritually advanced. So the Shastras give out a plan. Initially, we may begin with a preliminary interest that is called Adhav Shraddha, initial faith. That is all that is required. Yes, there is something interesting these people are talking about. Let me try. Adhav Shraddha. In other words, what I am trying to say is, yes, we may understand something, we may realize, we may not realize, but the Shastras encourage us to go through a process. This word, Sanskrit word used is vidhanataha, rasa vidhanataha. Just like rasa means chemical, vidhana means process. That's why chemistry is called Rasayana Shastra. Right? So just like there is a chemical process by which a base metal can be converted into a noble metal, Kamsyam Kanchanatam. Kamsa is a brass. Kanchana is gold. Kamsam Kanchanataha Rasa Vidhanataha, by a chemical process. In the same way, by a spiritual process, a base soul, heart, like ordinary soul, can be transformed into an elevated soul. So in other words, there is a process and we must accept that process, and when we take up that process, gradually we will make progress. So, Shastras describe Adhav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Atha Bhajana Kriya, Tata Anartha Nivrutti Syam, Tato Nishtha, Ruchisthatha, Tathasakti, Bhava, Premabhyudanchati. So, like this, Sadhakanam, Kramaha. So, a sadhaka goes through these steps, one by one. So we take up this process. We start with an initial faith and interest and sadhu sangha, adho shraddha, tata sadhu sangha, associate with devotees. And so devotees will recommend to us, why don't you do this bhajana kriya, some devotional activities like chanting, reading, doing some service on this. When we do bhajana kriya, anartha nivrutti happens. All the contaminations and illusion that is clouding our consciousness, slowly that diminishes. When anartha nivrutti happens, one becomes nishtha. Nishtha leads to ruchi, a taste for the spiritual process. When you develop the taste, you become attached to it, asakti. And then in that asakti state, when we practice, bhava comes. And from bhava comes prema. So like this, is conditioned soul can go through this process gradually he will be able to realize more and more advanced knowledge. This is what the Shastras and the Acharyas recommend us to do. So when we do this, we will gradually make more and more progress. Any other questions? We stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai.